Welcome. Meditating on the symbol of Taurus, you can see the conjunction. There is one circle, and emerging from it is the start of a second circle, a crescent. This is reminiscent of the sun. The circle, but also represents consciousness, and the moon, which represents the subconscious. This really explains how Vav, which is the Hebrew letter for and, is assigned to this astrological sign of Taurus. This reminds me of the first time I sat down to meditate. I was suddenly aware that, as Sakyong Mipham pointed out in his book, I am not my thoughts. That first admission suggests there is something more. Suddenly, that there is a higher self represented in the Hierophant by the Hierophant itself is actually real. That concept of knowing yourself as an ego personality, the person with a job, a specific car, or identification with a group or relationship status, and that aspect which is something more and something else. Allowing that we can be this and that at the same time is a very interesting state of being. This feels very transitional. In the process so far, in Aries we experienced the desire to know more, and now we have realized there is a second aspect of ourselves that we don't know or really understand. This also connects to the idea of union. As D.W. Huck points out, this is a new temporary state. This explains why Paul Foster Case makes numerous references to the stone, which, once again, is the mind or consciousness of the individual, and that it needs to be like wax. If we reach this point and progress no further spiritually, we would only reach the point of agnosticism, where we say there appears to be something more, but we don't have a direct experience with it. I have known many people who've given up on meditation because they think that it has to be a state of mindlessness. Meditation, however, simply means to place the mind upon. Alchemists practice an active form of meditation. They place their mind upon the substance that they are working with, the prima materia. D.W. Huck points out that alchemists use their conscious or on purpose, like an ingredient, to affect the outcome of an experiment. In science, there are numerous studies and experiments that prove that beliefs of the scientist affects the outcome. As one of the reasons, the scientific method requires that multiple people replicate an outcome of an experiment. That is supposed to remove the conscious effect, which may be why academic science has hit a wall regarding relevance. Contemplating what a wax state of consciousness would be like, it makes me think of the common characteristics of Taurus. The people I know who have strong Taurus placements exude a childlike wonder at the world and things in general. They are usually extroverts, who can blend in into any social gathering or setting. The typical characteristics of Taurus, however, include stubbornness and tenacity, which are definitely not a wax-like mind. It makes me think of the concept that Dan Millman suggests in his book on life path numbers called The Life You Were Born to Live. He explains that the influences we were born with don't come easily because they are the lessons we came here to learn, saying that the deeper lesson of Taurus is to develop a flexible mind. In Buddhist traditions, one of the benefits of meditation is a flexible mind. With a flexible mind, we are less likely to be lazy. A lazy mind does the same thing over and over again without question. A lazy mind doesn't question conditioning. Developing a flexible mind by practicing meditation allows us to contemplate more than our daily life, which, again, connects Taurus to a fragile connection to divinity. On an annual level, in Aries, we had that first blush of desire for how we wanted our year to go. By Taurus, however, and the end of the season for sure, we are probably starting to see indications of how the year is going to be like, despite our hopes. To redirect the focus of the year, we will need a flexible mind. Further, if we are going to continue to experiment with alchemy, we will also need a flexible mind. Even now, having examined the different paths of the seeker, I still find curiosities, such as the systems of 12. If I stop at any point and say, this is it, this is all that I can learn, I have obtained the philosopher's stone, I feel that it would reverse all of the knowledge and perspective that I have gained. Personally, I reached a point where I am satisfied with my development. I no longer feel the intense desire to know that I once had, or to convince others. I mostly share with others because I have found others who are interested, and because I have that flexible mind. Instead of assuming that we must have a lot of experience to have a flexible mind, it's more of being open to ideas. Not so much that we lack an opinion, or accept everything we come across. Discernment is necessary. Finally, if we have a wax-like mind, we are open to guides and teachers. We will come across the next person or subject that will help us to shift our minds and grow even more. For me, when I sat down and decided to create cards for the indigenous moon for the full moon meditations, I accepted the inspiration to create the diagram for the system of 12. This process itself is teaching me a lot as I go. That's what I wanted to share regarding Taurus and a wax-like mind. I think that our next symbol, the one for Gemini, is an interesting transition. In fact, upon meditating upon them and then studying the entire zodiac, symbology, it is a fascinating progression. In a way, if you compare Aries and Taurus, seeing them as a progression of symbols, it's as though the crucible has curved and developed a bubble below it. In some depictions of the Taurus symbol, the horns resemble more of a triangle than the one I used, making that observation even more evident. However, when we hit the next symbol, everything changes. I'm really curious to see what insights we find when exploring Gemini. Until then, thank you for exploring this avenue of the seeker with me. Bye for now.